It's disappointing. I thought we came out with a game plan that I thought was effective. I thought our defensive shape was good at the start of the game. We won a lot of balls in the midfield and transitioned well. It's just those are moments where 4, 5, 6 chances we had that we were hoping to get something out of it. We obviously didn't. And then I think our defensive shape and individual moments really cost us, right? The first goal, one in which we're pressing, we're high, they transition, the game kind of is open, and they make a good play. The second one, a penalty that debatable, I guess you could say. But for us, it's more about we got to keep the ball out of our net more than anything. Then we need to convert, because I think that's a game where you could see the nervousness in their center backs and the way they were playing. And if we convert and score a goal, I think in the first half it's a completely different game.
Well, how much does conceding that first goal against the run of play like it was, how much does that maybe contribute to the snowball kind of rolling away?
Yeah, a little bit. I think truly the second goal was really more of the game changer, because at 1-0 with the way we were playing and still creating, I don't think nervous about it or worried about it. But once the second one goes in, now it's more of a mountain to climb. But at the end of the day, we talked at halftime. The most important thing was to not concede, right? And then we came out 5 minutes and they scored again. So that's on us for the concentration aspect and finding a way to keep the ball out of the goal. And we've seen when you're up 2-0, teams can come back, and we had to do better in order to do so.
What was the temperature check at halftime? Coming in here, having given up that second goal, what was the energy like?
Honestly, I thought we were still pretty positive, because again, we were looking at the performance less than the goals that were scored, and in many ways what we were doing in terms of creating chances was good. I thought when we won the ball, our first pass was excellent. I thought getting numbers into the attack was strong. It's just about converting and finding that right final pass. And that was something where, again, we needed a little bit more tonight across the board.
We saw you protesting with Chilwitz.
Yeah.
What were you saying to him, and what was he saying to you?
For me, I was just trying to evaluate what he was seeing. Of course, right? Was his angle? Was he able to see it? Did it look like Bakai got a touch on the ball? And look, I think those are moments where you maybe let it play, and then you see what happens, and maybe you go back and call the penalty. But to call the penalty immediately, for me, was a little bit hasty. But that's what we were discussing, and I think that's Alex. He does a good job, and he converses with the captains well. But of course, in the heat of the moment, you're frustrated. You don't want that second goal to go in. So.
Will, can you walk me through what your guys' plan is when it comes to set pieces and corner kicks? Tonight you had 14 corner kicks, only 2 of which ended up on target. 1 did end up being a goal.
Yeah.
But when 12 of 14 don't end up on frame, something doesn't seem to be going right. Well, it didn't go right tonight.
Yeah, I think what we wanted to do is try to get the ball over Zardes at the near post, and he won quite a few of them at the near post, to be honest. And then the overcorrection is then trying to hit it above him, and then Stuver came out and caught a few. So it's really trying to keep it out of the goalkeeper's hands and then get it over that near post guy. But as we adjusted in the second half, it was really about running a player in front of Zardes to try to get a flick on and create a little chaos there, and I think that's where the goal came from. So it's really just the adjustment of that.
Were the short goal kicks planned, or is that just momentum of the game, get the ball in?
Yeah, I think we worked on it in the week. Don't let them set, because as soon as they set, they're decent in terms of trying to close space and those types of plays. But when they're open and they're not set, guys take moments off. And I think if we could get it in quicker, we would be able to bypass their first, second line faster.
Will, do you think there's a theme at all with ball watching and being caught flat-footed at times defensively?
I don't necessarily think a theme. Look, you look at new guys in the lineup, especially Bakai's first came back, really. So it's a little bit about getting him fully fit and some chemistry, right? I mean, it's his first time playing next to Mickey and Zarek and DJ. So that's part of it. I think all of us, it's just the communication aspect is where we really need to hammer down when you have guys that are fresh into the lineup. So I don't think it's a pattern so much as a correctable thing.
What did you think of Timu and Tajuri Shradi's half hours?
Yeah, look, I think Ishmael did great coming in, very lively, tidy in small spaces, was able to be dangerous with some of his runs in between lines, his passes between lines, and I think Timu was great in terms of always threatening. He got into good positions, and Again, it's a brand new guy to the team, so it's exciting for us that we hopefully continue to push his fitness level and get him ready for the games coming up.
Busy week ahead, midweek clash,
Yeah.
LAFC on the weekend.
Yep.
How do you guys go about, planning being on the road and back home and staying healthy and keeping the same 11 but also rotating?
Yeah, Jacob, I think it's most important to just get recovered and rested. I mean, like we talked about back in May when we had a huge onslaught of games, it's the same story. Get guys' bodies back to normal and refresh. You won't be probably 100%, certainly not by Saturday with the midweek game, but these are two massively important games, and we have to go to Houston and perform, and then we have another home game from our fans that deserve more than what they got tonight.
How different was it not having Adrian on the sidelines tonight? Did it factor into the performance on the pitch?
No, I don't think it factored into it. Obviously, when your gaffer's not on the sidelines, it's an adjustment for all of us. But at the same time, we're professionals, right? It's our job to play the game, and ultimately, we didn't perform well enough tonight.
How much do you think you guys missed Boxy, especially having to put Bakai,
Sure.
left center back out on the right? How much did that factor?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Boxy is massively important to our group. His solidity, his pace, his reading of the game, and ball winning in the box. All the things that he brings are hard to replace. So I think he's a guy that is missed no matter when he's not in the team. So that's a guy that we'll be happy to have back for Wednesday.
No, it was awesome. I think it was really cool. It was my first time my brother actually got to come. And I think it was awesome just to score and have him react. But, I mean, it's definitely something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, even maybe more so than my debut. I think it was so fun, man. I mean, to score in your home stadium where you've grown up and played soccer your whole life and hear people cheer for you, it's something I'm not going to be able to, I'm always going to remember. And it was awesome.
What's your brother's name?
Ronnie. So it was awesome. It was good. It was good that he was able to come. I was excited for that.
You've had a lot of fans or family at previous games. How was Ronnie able to come tonight?
I mean, honestly, it was just he kind of was like, "Hey, I haven't come," and he saw I'd been playing more, and he was really excited. He was like, "Oh, I don't even care if you get in. I just want to be there and just see it and witness it finally." And it just worked out, and I don't know. I guess it just all worked out for him, and I was excited because he's not really the biggest going out person, but it was awesome. I was happy.
What did he say after the game?
Oh, just ecstatic. So he was born with a leg shorter than the other, so he's always had crutches his whole life. So he had his crutch up in the air and was waving it around when I walked towards him. But yeah, he was just so happy. He gave me the biggest hug, and that made my night for sure.
Devin, 14 corner kicks tonight. Only 2 of them ended up on frame, but one of those 2 ended up being the goal you scored. What did you do in that moment to ensure that you would get ahead of the ball?
I think just throwing my body in between the goal and trying to get my head on something. I mean, you saw, it was bouncing around a lot. On that first goal, I think Ray was really just trying to find that front guy, and I saw Hassani run near post, and I kind of just wanted to get in a spot where I can kind of be behind him, but not too far, where I can at least run and get some momentum behind it, and it kind of just came off really fast, right to my head, and quick reaction, so.
What does tonight do for your growth as a footballer, for your growth as an MLS player, and so on?
I think it's really awesome, but I think there's a lot to learn from tonight because, again, it's not the result we want by any means. I mean, you can't go out there and do that on your home field. You can't lose 4-1. You can't be conceding 4 goals in this league, that's for sure. So I think there's a lot to look at and learn. So I don't think obviously I can be happy about the goal, but I think it's rewatch everything that I did and see what I can do better in situations where it wasn't good enough. And honestly, just the team in general, what can we find that wasn't good enough tonight? Because it's got to change, especially at home.
You guys have run the set play with the near post flick onto the back post numerous times.
Yeah.
Were you anticipating that? Was that sort of what you
Yeah, kind of. I saw how Ray was serving him the whole night. He was looking for either Mender, and then I think it was Hassani or Pookie was running to that spot. So honestly, my whole idea was just kind of find yourself at the PK spot or right behind it and just throw your head at it.
You came on at the same time as Pookie.
Yeah.
So sort of standing next to him on the sideline. And did you guys exchange any words? Or anything?
No, I think it was just
together?
enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
He's played everywhere. He's played in the Premier League. I think he was ready for it and he knew what he had to do, and it was just kind of a go out there and enjoy type of thing. Let's try and change the game.
Devin, busy week ahead. On the road midweek, coming back against LAFC. You know, there's potential for mixing up the starting 11. There's potential, you know, for everybody to recover. What do you need to do, you know, this week to, you know, to tell the gaffer that, you know, maybe you want more minutes, maybe you deserve a nod after tonight's performance?
Just keep improving in training. I mean, just keep having the same mindset. Like I've said when you guys interviewed me about the debut, is like, don't get too high and don't get too low. Just keep that consistency. That's the biggest thing in this job, is how consistent can you be. I mean, you're obviously going to have bad games, but how are you going to let it affect you, or how can you change that, or how can you bounce back immediately, or you have a high like this where you score a goal but we lose 4-1, so there's always something you can fix. So I think it's just that constant getting better and just keeping your head down and work, because you're young players, so as long as you're keeping your head down and working, I think good things will come.
You were able to watch that first half from the sideline. It seemed like the team started out really strong, and then there was a momentum shift. What did you take from, you know, what you could, you know, see in terms of just being on the sideline and watching it?
No, I mean, I think they got really fortunate. I mean, we picked the ball twice off their center backs and had one on O's, or you have the one where Joseph, they call him for a foul when Mender gets the ball passed back to him running 1-0. I mean, the refs, I mean, again, obviously it's going to be a little biased, because I think the refs were terrible tonight, because I don't think that's a penalty. And then you have that, but like, I mean, you look at it and they score 2 goals from bad moments and you get a PK, which sucks. But I mean, you look at that first half and I honestly, we created the chances. You can't say like we were bad or we didn't do enough. I mean, we have the opportunities to go there. I think it's just now put them away, like be more deadly when we have those types of chances, because that's the difference between teams that make it far and teams that don't. You got to be able to put balls in the back of the net.
What happened to the mustache?
I don't know. I saw pictures of myself and it kind of wasn't the best looking thing, I thought, but it served its purpose for a while. Thought I'd clean up, give myself a little fresher look.
Was it weird not having Adrian on the sideline?
You know, a little bit, but I mean, Sean McCauley's basically like my mentor from a sense. Like, I think I have more moments with him than Adrian at trainings, just because Sean played left back his whole life, and we always do so much one-on-one after training. He's always giving me feedback, so it was honestly a little like refreshing to see Sean over there. But yeah, it was definitely different having Adrian, because Adrian's such a good, you know, motivator for all of us, and maybe miss out a little bit, but it was definitely different.
You have Kamar coming back from Gold Cup. You know, whenever that happens, there's rumors of a 21-year-old English left back potentially coming in. How much are you sort of embracing that challenge of the competition once kind of that whole crew gets in?
I mean, you control what you can control, right? I mean, whatever happens, happens. I mean, I can control how hard I work, what I do when I get my opportunities, and if I'm out there on the field, I'm going to give it my all for the fans. So all I'm worried about is what I can do, whatever all that is, it can be.
How old's Ronnie?
He's 23. Yeah, so he graduated in 2018, so he was always 3 years older than me.
Is it with a Y? I-E?
IE, yeah.